Hello everyone, it's Canadagraphs here. This will be my December video on Q&As. Don't have a lot this month, so hopefully this will be a lot shorter than the last video, which ran almost half an hour. So let's start with the questions. Vishal Krypton asks, do you think Kingdom Come Soups will return even if he wasn't seen on set? I assume he will, since he is technically the most important Superman to play, which is canon, Christopher Reeve's Superman. My personal feeling on this, I don't think so. I saw a notable chunk of the Legends part of filming done, and he definitely wasn't on set for any of that. And we've seen some of the promos for the Arrow part, where they're doing the fight at the dawn at the beginning of time, and he's not there for that because Lex Luthor is still there. Maybe he does, but if he does, I don't think he's going to have much screen time. I don't think he survives Crisis one way or another, but if he does come back, I think you're not going to get a lot of it. My personal feeling is I think that's probably the last we saw of him was in the Flash episode. Sammy Gibson asks, are there any scenes that you were there for that they didn't use? Not really. There was parts of one scene that they didn't use when they were doing the big getting people off Earth 38 scene with Alex, Kelly, Nia, and Lena. They didn't use everything they shot from that scene, but more or less they shot what they needed. Because I remember there was a scene where they had Lena doing like a simulated whistling sound. So that didn't make it into the episode, but really, for the most part, yeah, most of it was used. Maybe 2 seconds here, 1 second there didn't get, used. They just looked at the footage and they're like, okay, we only need 42 seconds here and we have 45. Let's cut these 3 seconds out. Like something like that type of stuff. But as far as a whole scene, not yet that I can recall. I'll go back on that and just make sure, but I'm pretty confident there hasn't been anything like that. Frost asks, so what about Titans? Is that all we get? Is it just a glimpse of Hawk and Robin? That's it? I thought there would be more. Yeah, that's it. They were not they didn't actually really film for that. I've heard from multiple fans that follow that show more. That was actually a scene from a cut version of one of their finales that didn't make it to air. So all they did is they went to DC, went, hey, we'd like to use some Titans footage. They looked around and they're like, okay, well, we have this you can use, and that's how that ended up on there. So they didn't even actually film a scene for it. It was just a leftover scene from an old episode that didn't get used. So that's all they had. A lot of people had this assumption when they saw the list of cameos that came out. They're like, oh wow, we're going to get 5 minutes of this character, 12 minutes of that character. But you got to remember, there's 5 hours of filming, or five TV hours, and a little over 3 hours of airtime. And they have to, they still have to tell their story. They have to get involved, the main characters, for the stories of the shows they're pushing. So there's never going to be a time where all of these cameos, we're going to get more than a few seconds here, a few seconds there. Kevin Conroy. Tom Welling got more just because of their name stature and because they probably had to dole out more to get them on there than, say, Ashley Scott or Burt Ward, who they probably were able to get for a lesser price. So when you're paying more for someone, you want to try and squeeze out a couple more minutes of screen time out of them. And that's the only reason Tom got like 1.5 minutes and Kevin Conroy got like 6 to 8 minutes. There was, they spent more money on them, so they're like, we need to get a little more out of them. But the smaller characters, they were never going to be more than just a cameo to make fans go, holy cow, look, they got this from that. Izzy Trekker asks, do I need to start watching Lucifer now? From a Arrowverse standpoint, no. From a entertainment standpoint, it's a very good show. I wasn't the biggest fan of the last season, but even then, it's still a pretty good show. There's been some brilliant parts to it. I can't remember, was it season 2 maybe? I don't know if it was season 2 or season 3. I actually thought was one of the top 3 best seasons of TV there was out that year of any show, superhero or drama. So it is a show worth checking out. You've seen now a little promo of what Lucifer is like. That's him all the time on the show. So you now have a somewhat idea what you're stepping into with him. I would recommend watching it, but you don't have to. Tom Gemvier, sorry if I butchered that, asked, how do you find out where sets are and get there so quickly? Well, mostly because I live downtown Vancouver. Like, I live right in the middle of downtown Vancouver, so I don't have to go far for a lot of things. Now, there's a lot of stuff that obviously films way outside my area, and I mostly choose not to go to those. So, as far as how do I find out, there's a few ways. Twitter is a really handy asset if you know where to look, who to look for, and what you're looking for. I mean, obviously, I've been doing this long enough. I know particular keywords that will bring better results. But even that's only a hit and miss thing. That fills in holes I don't already know. A lot of my tips come through people I know specifically telling me they saw something, or me just physically out on my own seeing the information. Because there's a lot of telltale signs how you know you're at a film set or a film set will be there soon. There's particular things that production has to do by the city of Vancouver, or any city, but especially in the city of Vancouver, they have their own set of rules you have to go by. So if you know what you're looking for, you would know if they're setting up for a film production. So yeah, I'd say half of it is me walking around and stumbling into things, and half of it is through other people telling me stuff, or Twitter filling in some of those holes. How do I get there so quickly? Well, people seem to be under the impression that Vancouver is this massive metropolis, and it's not. It really isn't. The city of Vancouver as a whole, not including all the outskirts, not including the cities outside it, the city of Vancouver as a whole is only about 650,000 people. Downtown Vancouver is probably like 100,000 people. I don't know, maybe a little more. But you can walk from the north end of Vancouver to the south end of Vancouver. If you're in good shape, you can walk in 15 minutes. West to east a little longer, because you gotta take in Stanley Park into that consideration, so that could be like 45 minutes. But downtown Vancouver is not a big place. So if someone's filming downtown Vancouver, there's it's the most densely populated area, a lot of people that work down there. So information on downtown filming locations rarely get by. 92% of the time, I'd say probably someone's going to find it. So yeah, that's mostly how I end up finding things so easily. Nathan McFall asks, has any other member of the Legends we haven't seen in the crossover yet been spotted on set? Not that I saw. I'm sure somebody has. I mean, I doubt that. I mean, in Legends episode is going to be the finale, so there's going to be a lot going on in the Legends episode, so it's going to be hard to fit in parts that weren't maybe already there. But I bet a couple of them show up. It would be pretty surprising to have a Legends episode with no more Legends. That said, we got nobody in the Batwoman episode except for Luke Fox. So I guess maybe. I mean, it's possible that the Legends might not be in it. I didn't really think about it until your question came up. I feel there'll probably be a couple, but you might not get all of them, Obviously, the ones that were there are going to be there till the end, but newer characters, you might get one or two. Rimba Williams asked a question that I don't really know what it meant. So I'll just say it as it is, and I'll try to interpret what I think it means. By dint of filming, the actors know you. So I feel what they're probably trying to ask is, do any of the actors know me? Yes and no. I mean, they clearly, if they see me from a distance, walking towards them, I'll get a wave. You know, they'll be like, hey, I acknowledge you're there. I know who you are. Few of them know me by name. But it's not like I hang out with them on a daily basis. You know, I've never gone to lunch with one of them or something like that. No, I mean, they know who I am. Some of them know my name. Quite a few of them probably know my screen name, you know, on Twitter or YouTube or whatever. But as far as knowing, not really. And I mean, I think part of the reason I do so well at this job is I haven't tried to become a friend of a celebrity. Like, I see some of these fans that come out sometimes, and they've got this delusion that, man, you know, if I can just get a minute to hang out with so-and-so, they'll be best friends with me. And that's almost never happened. I mean, I'm sure it probably has at some point. There's probably some celebrity out there whose best friend started off as a fan. But it is a grossly slim amount. And, you know. So, yeah. I mean, some of them know me. Some of them don't. Busy Braun asks, do you ever plan on filming other shows, or will you just stick with these badass shows? I have covered other shows. Probably the best show I ever had for audience retention and autograph sales was Once Upon a Time, and that wasn't one of the superhero shows. Supernatural's done well with me in the past, although now that it's really, really, really long in the years, that's slowed down quite a bit. I've tried working on shows outside the Arrowverse, but it doesn't really draw a lot. I mean, there's obviously fans of the show because they get viewers, but it doesn't work for me. Like Riverdale, I have covered that a couple times. Almost no pull from the Riverdale fans. We have Nancy Drew and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina in town, and like Riverdale, Sabrina, Nancy Drew, they have an age demographic, and that doesn't seem to overlap with the demographic for the superhero shows. So I think they're just not familiar with my product, and because of that, when I take a chance on them, it's not really working out for me. And because of that, it's the snowball effect. I then don't cover it as much, and they don't come to me as much. So I tend to stick to the superhero shows, but I would love to expand beyond them, because now that Arrow's done, the Arrowverse kind of is slim pickings. The Flash is okay. I mean, I do okay with the Flash. Supergirl has hit and miss for me. Supergirl isn't the biggest seller for me, mainly because the star of the show doesn't really sign much. So it's kind of hard to build up clients when you don't have the main star in your inventory very often. So covering Supergirl is kind of a losing venture for me most times. What else is in the Arrowverse these days? Batwoman. I enjoy the show, so I am okay covering it so far. But there's got to come a point eventually where I got to start making some money back from that show, and it hasn't happened yet. And who knows? Who knows how that'll go down the line? And Legends is just Legends, you know. I don't cover Legends a lot because they don't do a lot of downtown shoots. But the new spin-offs coming, I might put in some time on the Superman and Lois show. that is a maybe. Obviously, a lot of that will depend on if the popularity is there after it comes out. As for the Black Star and Canaries one, almost no. I mean, I probably will just because it'll be here, but I am 100% not interested in that. And it's such a stupid idea, but I know the CW is going ahead with it, so you know, it's 6 months, 7 months, 7 months until filming season starts for next year. They probably won't be doing a pilot because they did a backdoor pilot during the TV season. So I got 7 months to mentally prepare for that show coming here and maybe change my mind on whether I cover it, but I don't want to. It's a stupid concept and it's insulting to the fan base, but what can you do? You know, what I can do is just not cover it. We'll see, though. I say that, but I know once time comes around, I'll probably begrudgingly cover it. We'll see. So that's it for the questions portion for this video. I was gonna add in some other things, but the video started to get a little long after a while, so I didn't want to make. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to cut this one off with the questions portion. I might put out another one in a week or so because I've already recorded a lot of the audio for it. I might put out another video in a week or so, maybe just after New Year's or something, with that second batch of content, which will talk about some of the controversies that I have found myself in throughout December, and a couple other smaller details. But we'll see. That will be that'll be more of a do I have the time to edit it situation, because I have a pretty busy schedule as soon as the new year starts. A couple of sports teams in town, then TV season starts up. So I intend to try and get it out that first week of 2020, but it might not happen. We'll see. Until then, this is Canada Graphs signing off on this video, and I will let you know when that second one will be. If you check into, go to my page and go to the community tab, and I will post there when it might be. And you can check it out then. Until then, I will see you around.